Yes, but Don Carlos. Well, Don Carlos will drink Bordeaux, and in 10 years we will marry his son to the little queen. You will then obtain the Golden Fleece, if you are still in the ministry. I think, Albert, you have adopted the system of feeding me on smoke this morning. Well, you must allow it is the best thing for the stomach. But I hear Beauchamp in the next room. You can dispute together, and that will pass away the time. About the papers. My dear friend, said Lucien, with an air of sovereign contempt, do I ever read the papers? Then you will dispute the more. Monsieur Beauchamp, announced the servant. Come in, said Albert, rising and advancing to meet the young man. Here is Debray, who detests you without reading you, so he says. He is quite right, returned Beauchamp, for I criticize him without knowing what he does. Good day, Commander. Ah, you know that already, said the private secretary, smiling and shaking hands with him. Pardieu. And what do they say of it in the world? In which world? We have so many worlds in the year of grace 1838. In the entire political world, of which you are one of the leaders. They say that it is quite fair, and that sowing so much red, you ought to reap a little blue. Come, that is not bad, said Lucien. Why do you not join our party, my dear Beauchamp? With your talents you would make a fortune in 3 or 4 years. I only wait one thing before following your advice. That is, a minister, who will hold office for 6 months. My dear Albert, one word, for I must give poor Lucien a respite. Do we breakfast or dine? I must go to the chamber, for our life is not an idle one. You only breakfast. I await 2 persons, and the instant they arrive we shall sit down to table. And at the buzzer we get a brand new character named Beauchamp. Very French name. And this is where I feel like my voice acting skills are inadequate. Not even voice acting. I'm not acting here necessarily, but I am reading a text. And, folks, it's difficult to keep 3 different character voices. I mean, and I'm not trying to, give them too much effect. I don't want to be obnoxious about it. That's always what's taken me out of audiobooks in the past and why I typically only listen to nonfiction in audiobooks. Point being, I have to differentiate who's saying what. Otherwise, it would just get monotonous. And I don't got a great brain for keeping these folks apart. Usually, we've only had about 2 people speaking at once. And if it were 3, typically it was like Albert, Franz, and Countess G. I suppose we had Albert, Franz, and Dante at one point. But the breakneck speed of being introduced to new characters, I have to kind of choose a mental gear to put each of the characters, and I feel like Beauchamp, I didn't get much intro to him, and therefore it was really just a gut instinct as to how to present him. Mostly he was defined in contrast to Albert and Debray. Albert, I've always this is going to be so stupid, I don't know why I'm giving you this look into the podcast. I've taken this approach of, he's got his nose in the air, and so I try to keep my mouth a little bit above the microphone, and I'm always kind of just talking down to the microphone. Debray, just for contrast, I put almost kind of like a Harry Potter character, someone from Slytherin. He's kind of down below the mic and very drawn out. And I have no idea what I'm doing with Beauchamp. I'm like, okay, we have a snooty guy, we have a sly guy. Why not just bring in, a brazen guy? We'll find out if that makes any sense for the character. I hope there's some sort of continuity between each chapter. And heaven forbid I forget what I even said and how I said it. What's happening here, folks? What is happening in this passage? They're still waiting for Dante. Albert is insistent that they are only having breakfast and they aren't dining. I guess they're just breaking fast in the literal sense that they are not actually sitting down to table, as Albert phrases it. My guess is, as we move into chapter 40 and beyond, this witty banter, it's not witty really, but this banter between Beauchamp and Debray will continue. Without much info on Beauchamp, I'm wondering if he's a writer, a journalist, because there's this line here where Albert is introducing him, or at least announcing him if Debray doesn't already know who Beauchamp is. He says, "Here is Debray, who detests you without reading you," so he says, because he had just thrown the papers down and says, "Do I ever read the papers?" Is he a journalist? I don't know. I would feign to believe that over, like, reading his body language. Like, he's criticizing you before he even meets you or gets to know you. That seems like a bit of a stretch. So, TBD on more info on Beauchamp. And I don't know that we needed it. I felt like it was pretty secure in our minds, but we do get a date, 1838, when this story is currently taking place, and they're about to eat some food. I could eat some food right now. Ooh, a breakfast burrito? I wonder if they got breakfast burritos for breakfast. That sounds good. Why don't more people put hash browns? Not potatoes, but like crispy hash browns in their breakfast burrito. Here's my perfect breakfast burrito. Now, I'm a vegetarian. Let me warn you about that. You got your tortilla. Great, grand, wonderful. Most people think, hey, let me do 3 eggs just to give it bulk. No, nay, not. I'm going to say 2 eggs. You still get the protein. You still get the consistency. That is the primary taste that makes a breakfast burrito. But let's jam it with some additional hearty things. 1, tomato. Great. A little bit of spice. We're going to do some not sliced, diced jalapenos, not pickled, fresh. Give it a little bit of crunch. I'm going to say sweet onion, but if you don't want to spring for the extra dime for a sweet onion, a yellow onion will do. Those also diced. You don't want stringy onions coming out with any bite. Then, down the center of it, place like a hash brown stick. Like, think of a fish stick, but it's a hash brown. Not a full puck, but like if you got one of those like Trader Joe's hash brown pucks, just like slice it into thin strips, put 1 strip down the center of it, make sure it's extra crispy, sprinkle on, you thought I was going to say American cheese? No. What? You thought I was going to say cheddar cheese? No. A little bit of pepper jack. Do some pepper jack down the center, wrap it up. Then, you're not done yet. You ain't seen nothing yet. You got to throw that thing on the grill, get it brown on both sides, make sure that it stays together. Put that thing on a plate with a little tiny bit of salsa. And if you're real crazy, if you're a real maniac, maybe, just maybe, you do a dollop or 2 of salsa verde instead. But you got to be real crazy for that. And here's the thing, I think most people would go in a direction of, okay, do I also do sour cream? Maybe a little avocado. You know, I understand the inclination for the avocado. I'm not going to stop you, but I think it's one too many textures at that point. And I'm going to just make a recommendation. You don't have to take it. Instead of the sour cream, instead of just like a little tablespoon of sour cream, do just a spoonful of non-fat Greek yogurt. It's healthier. You get that protein. You get those enzymes. It tastes the exact same as sour cream. You're good to go. That's a energy pellet for the morning, and a tasty one, but it might give you heartburn. Beware. Who knew I get to talk about so many exciting things on this show, like breakfast burritos. Well, you can chime in and tell me what you think of the show and what you would like to hear. I have more to read out of the Dumas biography. I was trying to savor it a bit. We have so much more of the book left to do. Why waste it all right now? But hey, you know what, folks? As far as this version that we're reading, the anonymous translation from Gutenberg, we've done it. We completed chapter 39. And I'm so glad if you are still listening to this episode, I'm talking to you. I'm talking directly to you. I realize there's a bit of non-seriousness to my tone, but I don't mean it. I am so glad that you are here to listen to my nonsense. Even my cat has fallen asleep next to me, sick of listening to me. But I am so glad that you are reading this story with me, and I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your experience is with this book, what your experience is with this show, this podcast. I want to know other stories you like. You can reach out to me at patreon.com/gruntworkpod. That's the podcast network for this show. And encourage you to stay tuned after the credits to listen to what current things we are offering from the podcast network. Okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.